Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of Kill of the Week. I am one of your hosts, Brandon, and joining me tonight, and I will go counterclockwise. So to my left, I have Jess, and then above Jess is Josh, and then above me is Jill. And tonight we are talking about, I guess technically I picked this one. Is that how that went?
Sure.
Yep.
All right, fine. So tonight we're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, and we are talking specifically about the puppet kill of the character Philip, that when he was sleepwalking, he was turned into a bloody puppet by his tendrils and slept walked to a ledge to where he supposedly committed suicide, while all in reality, Freddy just sliced his strings. So going back counterclockwise, Jess, why don't you talk about your first time seeing this kill, your first time seeing Freddy, or any memories of Freddy Krueger?
Ooh, my first time seeing this kill, it wasn't like right when it came out, so it was definitely after the fact.
Were you around in '86?
No, but like like on streaming services, like readily available, like, but it wasn't when it first was like a big thing, I guess I could say. But I was probably, I don't know, 12, 13. Like, I want to say I watched it at a friend's house first. And I honestly think remember when Redbox was that the thing where you could rent? That's where I think her like brother got it from that. And I think we just like snuck in to watch it. But I had only I didn't even really know what it was at the time. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, we can do this. But it was terrifying to me. The concept of the whole, like, going to sleep and being, Freddy Krueger appearing in your dreams. I was, like, terrified to sleep. This kill specifically just gives me, like, the feels. I don't know if it's when it all comes out and whatnot. It just, like, I can't. Every single time I see it or watch it, I just, like, ugh. So yeah, this one gets me.
Hell yeah. How about you, Josh?
So I remember when I first saw the Nightmare on Elm Street, I was definitely also my younger teens or adolescents, but I thought Freddy was kind of hilarious because I saw him kind of around the same time I was introduced to Child's Play, and Child's Play freaked me out, and Nightmare on Elm Street kind of made me laugh, so I took as Freddy as, all right, I like him. Even his claws, yeah, just call him claws, reminded me of like Wolverine, because I was watching X-Men animated series, so I was like, oh yeah, I like this guy. The kill, however, that one, because I don't even remember if I saw Nightmare on Elm Street 3, because it was a while ago, but I remember seeing that and I was like, I don't like how that makes me feel, because it just makes me think if just my veins just came out and I can see them. So it's like I never liked that kill for that reason. That's
fair. I fully respect that, and I love the fact that it made you think of Wolverine, because yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Very imaginative child. I didn't change. I'm still like that.
Jill, how about you?
I don't remember the first time ever watching the series. I just know I've always loved them, and he's always been my favorite of all of them. It's always something that stuck with me, that, you can run down the street from Jason and Michael, and that's great, but like the vulnerability of it happening in your dreams and having no place to run, and everything is possible, and the creativity that world opens up, but obviously we just watched the whole series again, so he kind of became, as you kept saying, like a Looney Tune character at some point. But before that, it opens up so many possibilities of what he's capable of, and there's no innocence, there's nothing safe, you can't do anything, you're just constantly in fear and the exhaustion from that. And I love that series, and that kill is one of my absolute favorite kills. 3 is my favorite of the entire universe of Nightmare on Elm Street. So I love the puppet kill. I can feel it. It's gross. The only one that I think bothers me more is what we just watched, and God knows which one, with the chalkboard, and he's just going in a circle. because that was just more stupidity. But again, you could feel the sounds of the nails on a chalkboard. So imagining his claws on the chalkboard just get to. But the puppet kill is beautiful. I think it was beautifully done. I mean, now my brain thinks of also like was NSYNC inspired by Nightmare on Elm Street, where they did their little puppet boys, and now I think of all of that combination world of little NSYNC boys being strung up by Freddy Krueger. It was the 80s and 90s. It was a wild time.
I can see that being inspired by to a family friendly kind of way.
Maybe not, but whatever. I love it. I love that movie so much. I'm really happy to rewatch it and revisit that kill. And it's brutal. You hear the kid screaming and trying to get his attention. He's awake the entire time and knows what's happening. It's just, and they kept cutting back so perfectly between Freddy just hanging out and being a little puppeteer and showing without him and what it looks like to everybody else. And it was beautifully done. I love it.
I can't say when I first watched it. Normally I'm good at this. Normally I remember my trauma pretty well of things like scarring me that I watch. Freddy was just always there. I watched a lot of these on if anybody else remembers TNT Monster Vision, hosted by Joe Bob Briggs. I used to watch a lot of that. I used to watch a lot of these on that because they were on TV, and my mom didn't care too much because they were like heavily edited for television. So it wasn't like, we didn't get the cool like hot naked nurse scene on TV like from that movie. We didn't get that, or too much of the blood stuff.
Boo
So
the FCC.
Yeah, censoring television. But I remember watching a lot of them on there. But like I do kind of remember the first time like seeing it completely uncensored, which probably was like we got HBO free for a week when they used to do those like package deal kind of things. Like, oh, get HBO and consider paying for it, which we never did. So I remember like watching it on there, and with this kill in particular, God, it is just as I think Jess described it the best. You get the feels from it because like they did a really good job with sound design. I think this was probably like one of the first kills or first things I ever seen in the movie that made me think of and focus on noise, because like not only was like the tendon ripping noise from like the wrists and the feet, but the amount of detail that they went into for the fact that the string, that like the vibration of the string, like you get that wong noise as he's walking, that they thought about that they put the extra attention to detail that, oh, if Freddy's like puppeteering him, you would get the vibration of the strings going side to side and hearing that. And I like, that's what sticks out to me the most out of all of it. And like the blatant just fear of not being able to control yourself with it. It's so sick. It is done in the best way possible. Like Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is the best Nightmare on Elm Street movie, in my opinion. The first one, of course, is fantastic, but 3, in my opinion, was the last time Freddy was scary, because any other time that you see him like later, and Jill just popped off the call, I'm sure she'll join us back in a second. As Jill said before, like I made mention, like when we watched it, he goes full Bugs Bunny in like the later films. Like he just becomes this wacky Looney Tunes-esque character. So this was like the last time he was like purely terrifying, in my opinion.
Well, I would argue that I was saying we watched New Nightmare, and the version of him in New Nightmare was perfect. Or Wes Craven's New Nightmare, whatever the hell it's called. It was perfect, because then it wasn't just the claw on his hand. It was like his entire hand was the claw, and it was just the darkest version of what Freddy could be.
Yeah.
It was great. I think he looked terrifying, and he was like back to being a monster again.
That sounds interesting.
It was great. You would like it.
It made him scary for the fact of like a metaverse for New Nightmare. Whereas like Nightmare on Elm Street 3, you still had it to where it was a movie, whereas like New Nightmare was the movie within a movie within real life kind of thing. It was like a super meta flick, so that added another layer of terror for.
That's what I loved about it, because like you had Robert Englund painting Freddy Krueger, talking about Freddy Krueger. Then there's another version of Freddy Krueger that shows up, and it's just all of the evil that he could be, and then some. Because Freddy goes through the moments where like he first looked very much like a burn victim, then he got kind of moist and weird looking, then he got really like humorous looking, like very like softer features, and everything wasn't really scary anymore. And this one he had contacts and he was just fucking terrifying, and he had a trench coat. Freddy with a trench coat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love it.
Inception, but Nightmare on Elm Street style.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
It was great. I love it. But I also love the universe. It makes me happy.
What's
Yeah.
the most recent one they've done?
They did a
Nightmare.
remake of Nightmare, or mid 2000s, early 2000s, where DJ Quills, I think, was.
No, that wasn't DJ Qualls. That was
I keep getting it screwed up. It was Rorschach.
yeah, the actual
2010? Jeez.
is 2010.
Yeah.
It was Rorschach. They did. I
I
was
was gonna
getting
say there hasn't been another one, right? Like that was the
No, the
that
one
one did so bad that we don't talk about it.
I still
Yeah.
haven't seen it. So
You skipped it in our series.
yeah, that was Jackie Earl Haley who played Freddy, and Jackie Earl Haley, fantastic actor.
Oh, he's wonderful.
But I
Rorschach all day. I love him to death, but my
That
God,
movie-
and it's not his fault. But it was not a good version of Freddy. The way he looked, the storyline change, it just was not as strong.
just a little bit of housekeeping for Friday 13th. Jesus Christ, I don't know why I said that. For Nightmare on Elm Street 3, this movie was directed by Chuck Russell, where people would know Chuck Russell primarily would be for the Blob remake back in the 80s. He did that. God damn, what else did he do? I was just going through this list yesterday, and I gotta pull up the list. He has a new movie coming out as of us recording now called Ouija Board, or Spirit Board, which is a remake of a movie from the 80s, which looks sick. By the way, it has not come out yet as of us recording it. But he was also the director of The Mask. He was the director of The Scorpion King. He directed Eraser. So yeah, Chuck Russell,
Later?
fantastic filmmaker, big staple for a lot of stuff. It was written by Wes Craven, Bruce Wagner, and Frank Darabont. Wes Craven, this was him coming back to the series because he worked on the first one, obviously, wrote and directed the first Nightmare on Elm Street, did nothing with part 2, and then kind of came back to fix what they fucked up in part 2 for part 3, and which was great. And then you have Frank Darabont, who is notable for his Stephen King work. He was kind of the Mike Flanagan before Mike Flanagan, where he did The Mist and Shawshank Redemption, and like he did a lot of Stephen King adaptations that were great. Frank Darabont's work is also fucking amazing, that I highly recommend everybody seeing. For the special effects stuff on this, the special effects sequences, we had it done by Greg Canham. He worked on the Francis Ford Coppola Dracula movie, Bicentennial Man. He did work on Night at the Museum. The stop motion work was done by R. Christopher Biggs, who worked on Donnie Darko and Demolition Man, as well as Doug Beswick, who worked on Star Wars A New Hope and Darkman. So you have like a really high caliber crew working on this type of movie. Like, it's kind of insane to think that they had, for a slasher movie of the 80s, to bring in these people. Now, granted, Dracula, Bicentennial Man, and Night at the Museum weren't even like thought of yet, like by the time this movie came out, but it's still the fact that these guys have gone on to do such big stuff.
Yeah, the slashers were pretty big during that whole era, so I could definitely see a lot of big guys now working on that.
Oh yeah. One little fun fact about the kill that I found is that when they were doing the stop motion animation for Freddy, when he goes from puppet to Freddy puppet. They had the armature made up of the puppet, and what they did was they fucked up the face, where like they sculpted out the Freddy face and then they kind of smeared it around to just be pure clay. And then when they did the animation, they cut it, they played it backwards so that way the face would form, which I thought was like really cool and creative to be able to think like that quick on your feet, to just be like, oh, we're going to do this to make the kill work or to make the effect like more believable.
Yeah, that's why some of those effects were so good compared to nowadays.
Yeah, practical, like the blending of stop motion and reality is you need it. It breaks that, that's, or it doesn't break, but it adds to that suspension of disbelief that like you thoroughly believe, especially with stop motion, you believe that this inanimate object is there walking around and attacking this poor kid.
Definitely helps the creep factor too.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. Like, there's not a lot of time in between the first like movies that they did. For like in terms of sequel, it says like the first one was 84 and the second one came out the following year.
Yeah, they moved it pretty quickly.
And the third one was 87, so they just went one right into the other, I feel like.
Did they do well in the box office?
Oh yeah. They were big in the box office. Because like people love Freddy. Like, or like they love slashers in general. Like, who watches a slasher movie rooting for the kids,
They always deserve it.
Well, that's where New Nightmare came in. Is good job, Nancy. You get a pat on the head. You did great.
Like I will say, like I would argue my own statement to Nightmare on Elm Street 3 because those kids they're great.
Oh, I wanted them to survive. They were fucking awesome. They were the only group that like I cared about. I mean, I do love some Johnny Depp, so like he can stay all day. But
as a kid watching them, I rooted for the kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
See,
fair. I guess as a kid you'd
rooted
be fighting for the kids, but I mean for Nightmare 3, like the kids were they had so much more personality than what we've seen in previous films. And especially we were watching like we were watching Friday the 13th yesterday, and it's just they're all the fucking same. Like those kids didn't really count the same way as like the Dream Warriors kids. They had so much more personality, they were so much more versatile. They had their little things in the dream world of what they were capable of being little wizards and badasses, and they're great. I love them.
That was the thing about Dream Warriors. Dream Warriors is a D&D campaign. That's all that is. It's fucking Dungeons and Dragons. You have Kincaid, that's the warrior. You got I'm blanking on her name, but the one that was beautiful and bad with the knives and the mohawk, like that's your rogue. You got Will the wizard. I like it all fits the classes of D&D, and they're playing D&D in the movie. So like it is definitely based off of that fantasy, as well as the fact that I think the reason that Nightmare, you ask any Nightmare fan, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is guaranteed to be the favorite. It, like besides the first one, it's either going to be 1 or 3 when you ask any horror fan. And I think it's because with 3, and I can only speak from my own perspective, 3 was the only one, or at least like the first one, to really focus on the fact that like, oh yeah, Freddy is in the kids' dreams. So it's a dream where the kids can do whatever they want. Now, granted, Freddy always had that extra, that leg up in the situation, but like the kids were able to be like, because they're fucking kids. Like, yeah, of course I'm going to dream that I'm like big and strong or have magical powers. And it like played into that fantastical element, which I, fucking love.
It definitely added a great element to it. And it made you love the kids more because you saw a different side of each of them. They all had such personalities. Although Freddy's needle glove was one of my favorite gloves that he's ever had. It's just fucking terrifying. Like, I know you like the suction arms and little, pieces more, but
I don't like the suction things, but that affected me more than
the effect of like her injection marks like making like puckering sounds was terrifying. But that glove that just shows up, and it just goes into the same idea. It's all in a dream world. Nothing has rules. It does not matter. He can change his glove as he wants to. And that was, I think, one of the first times we saw his glove change, that it became the needle. I think most of the time it was pretty much just always his glove. Now we saw in one of the worst ones where it turned into like the glove with power and playing with power and the stupid
he turned it into a Nintendo Power Glove.
But I think this was one of the first times we see him also kind of playing into the world and like kind of matching the kids at their level and having fun with it, where he's like, all right, well, you're right. It is a dream world. We can be as weird as we want to be. And I love that. But there was, it always goes back to there's no rules. They just did what they wanted to. And it's the first time we saw the kids actually lean into that. I loved it. And then also because you did have Heather come back, and that was great to have Nancy like being like, you know, the final girl that's coming back and talking and helping the next generation. And it was good. It was a good connection for everybody to be there together.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I definitely got to rewatch that. I forgot Freddie changed his gloves so often. Oh, I need to do that rewatch.
You got it. It's really good.
It's a fun rewatch, like especially if you go from like the first one to last one, you see the progression. Like it's a lot of fun to see him go from like his most terrifying to just fucking wacky.
And you kind of just like, if you don't watch 4 and 5, like that's okay.
I actually think so. 3 was the first one I saw.
Okay.
As a kid, and then watched it again at some point along the way. But I don't think I saw 1 until after the bad one in when I think 2010 or whenever that was. I think it was like, I don't know if it was people I was watching with. They were like, okay, no, we got to go back. Watch the original.
I'm going to give my only gripe with the first movie, and then I'm going to go into my only gripe about the kill that we're talking about today. My only gripe with the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie is that, like, for one, Wes Craven, I love Wes Craven as a human, as a writer, as a director. R.I.P. The man is a fucking genius. He gave us Scream. He gave us People Under the Stairs. He is a genius when it comes to horror. My only gripe with the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie is that it is so perfect in sense of like tone and atmosphere, and really the first horror movie I've seen that really questioned religion or went against religion in a way. Because like you have Freddy with the glove saying this is God. You have Tina replicating the Mother Mary statue on top of the snakes, and just a lot of religious iconography that really stood out to me. But then it turns into Home Alone, and that really pissed me off, that you have Nancy rigging up her house with gunpowder light bulbs and a sledgehammer swinging down from a doorway. It just really turned.
Well, which one came out first? Who spoofed who?
Nightmare on Elm Street, I think, came out first.
Yeah, Home Alone was the 90s, wasn't it?
I don't know.
89 or 90, yeah.
Okay, so then he didn't turn Home Alone. She did it first.
Well, either way, it's
Home Alone turned Nightmare on Elm Street.
It becomes a Home Alone-esque movie. So that's my gripe with the first one, because like it was so good, and like not to say that it's still not good, like all that stuff, but it like the tone flipped and it got weird, and then it was just like
I do feel like we've been better off.
It went from like
just
deep
had more
to entertaining. Like, entertaining to the masses.
I mean, I would argue that we should have just had Johnny Depp the entire time in Nightmare.
His death was perfect.
We did. I mean, his death was phenomenal. But I mean, if that was Nancy in the bed, I wouldn't have been sad if we saw Johnny Depp running around the rest of the time. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
But also, I mean, like, you need the final girl. Like, that's a part of that universe. You need the girl to make it until she doesn't.
Yeah, and I mean, well, Nancy was one of the first ones at the time, and she nailed it. So my other gripe, my gripe with the kill that we are talking about right now, it has what is probably the worst. I don't want to call it a zoom out, but it's when Philip is laying there, he's like laying in bed, and he's like kind of like this, and Freddy just grows at the foot of his bed. Like after he's like a puppet, he just like gets bigger. It's most like someone
Like,
put him in the corner and drug it, and he just like in biggened.
And Biggin?
Yeah.
Bacon.
Ian Biggin.
Yep.
Yeah.
I stole a Chris word since Chris isn't here. Chris is a Biggin fan, and
Yep.
in his spirit, I will say in Biggin.
Oh my
But
god.
it seriously looks like they clicked on a box of Freddy and like held the corner and just drug him up, and he just
Biggin.
expanded.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. For a split second, it takes me out, and then it reels me back in. And when he's like cutting them up, and even that was fucking weird, like because it's like the weirdest like cut between shots that you see Freddy at like the foot of the bed just doing like this, and then the kid like reacting, and it's just like, what the fuck is happening right now?
When did he get psychic powers?
You have psychic powers?
No, that's.
Oh.
But if I'm seeing somebody just doing this, I'm like, wow.
It does kind of take a second to be like, wait, what? What's happening?
But
Yeah.
if he turned into a cartoon character, now I want to look up the list of what he can do or has done.
Dude, like seriously, there's a part in Freddy's Dead, like the final nightmare, which is the sixth movie or the fifth movie, no, sixth movie, and like he seriously like throws a kid through a barrier, like a force field thing, and it's the fucking Wile E. Coyote like human cutout of him going through the fucking wall.
It is. It was bad.
It gets insane.
Oh,
But
he does
also-
have telekinesis. Never mind.
Of course he does.
It's
Freddy. He can have anything.
but he has it in the real world.
In-
Like I'm looking at it. They have his dream world powers, but he also possesses abilities in the real world, including
Of course he does.
strength, pyrokinesis and telekinesis. Oh, this guy's OP. He's a mutant. I was right to think he was Wolverine. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably like my only gripe with this kill, and like with Freddy, like Freddy is overpowered. There's so much that it's like difficult to kill him. And one thing that I both love and hate is that every time you watch a Friday, I keep saying Friday the 13th, for fuck's sake. Every time you watch a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, it's always the cliffhanger ending, and they never explain how he comes back. Excuse me, unless you watch part 4 when he comes back by flaming dog piss.
What?
I shit you not. He's in a dream where like Kincaid is back, Kincaid survives, and he goes to like asleep in the 4th one, and he's in the junkyard, and his dog comes with him in the dream, and the dog pisses fire, and Freddy appears. It's
Yeah.
the most
Creativity.
outlandish shit ever.
I would never guess that, so I got to give him an A for creativity on that.
I also need to point out that in Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Kincaid delivers my all-time favorite movie line, that when they're in like group therapy and he's like freaking out, the doctor tells him to sit down, and his response is, "Fuck you, you sit down."
That was
It's like
good.
the most realistic response you can ever have from someone.
Well,
He was much more honest and just himself in that moment. It was great.
Fuck you,
takes
you
me
sit
back
down.
to public school.
Yeah, for real. Also going to put on record that Kincaid tried soliciting me for money to fund his film. The actor who played him messaged me on Facebook one time and sent me his GoFundMe. I was just kind of taken back a little bit. Much love. He's a great guy. Like I talked to him after the fact. I didn't give him any money because I didn't have any, but he was really nice and like
So
really
now you
cool.
need to hire him for one of our projects and pay him.
I would
And
love to have him. If there's anything that we can do, I would love to have Kincaid in something.
Mhm.
I don't know what, but
I don't know.
Sure,
I think it-
Got a lot of range.
actually I don't even know what else he's been in. If really anything else, but kind of bad for me to think that or say that out loud.
Stop it.
And I'm looking them up because I need to know.
We're literally doing the same thing.
Okay, Ken Sagos. Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Oh, he's more of a writer. That's cool. Oh, he played Kincaid in a Friday the 13th fan film called Jason Escaped from Hell.
Oh, he would definitely like to be on board, then it seems.
Yeah, that's very interesting. All right.
The more
Not too big into the fan films. I think some of them are done well, but yeah. A friend of ours actually made one that was pretty decent, called Dylan's New Nightmare. Our friend Cecil, who is on another YouTube channel called The Horror Show. Good guys over there. They do a lot of like trailer reactions and stuff like that. They actually got Miko Hughes, who played in the original Wes Craven New Nightmare and played Gage in Pet Sematary. They got him to come back and do something, which was pretty cool. So, like, congrats to those guys. It's on YouTube now.
nice. I never thought about fan made movies, but if I had to choose, I know this is super random,